Ms. Phelps, will you call the roll, please?
Yes. Give me a second. Ms. Cordova,
Here.
Mr. Robinson,
Here.
Mr. Merrick,
Here.
Mr. Elkins,
Here.
Mr. Self,
Here.
Ms. Parker,
Here.
Mr. Lopez,
Here.
and Mr. Rackler.
Here.
Okay, if you will stand, we'll be led by, the invocation will be led by Mr. Merrick and the pledge will be led by, Counselor Lopez.
Fellowship, please. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight, thanking you so much for all the many blessings that you bestow upon each and every one of us. Help us to be mindful of where these blessings come from. Lord, we thank you so much for the rain that you sent our way. We just ask that you continue to replenish the source that we need so much. And Lord, we just ask that you be with all of those here tonight. Help us to make wise choices and decisions that are rooted in the best thing that is for the community and the city. Lord, just help us to share that wisdom with others and help us to be always mindful of what is best for this community. And once again, thank you for the gift of your son, this willingness to be our savior. That's through his name that we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Salute the flag of the state of New Mexico as the symbol of perfect friendships among united cultures.
Okay, first we'd like to welcome everybody to our meeting. Now we'll move on to public comment. The public has the opportunity to provide comment on subjects regarding to city business. During the public comment period, speakers' comments will be limited to 3 minutes unless the mayor and or council requests more information. The time limit is given in an effort to allow public input, but also to move the agenda forward in a prompt yet efficient manner. All speakers must sign in at the beginning of the meeting. Topics are limited to 6 speakers per topic. Did everybody have a chance to sign in? Okay, with that, we'll start with Samantha Stressman. And her topic is America 250.
July 4th, 2026.
If you'd like to go to the podium, and then if you'll just state your name for the record, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Samantha Stressman. July 4th, 2026 is the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. As such, it is our duty as citizens to honor the sacrifice of those who came before us. In March of this year, New Mexico governor signed a Senate Bill 106. This bill established New Mexico Semi-Quincentennial Commission. I am here today to encourage you to form a local America 250 initiative to start setting aside funds for the celebration of America 250. Additionally, I hope that this initiative focuses on educating the younger generations to the sacrifice of the patriots of the American Revolution. This education would be enacted by working with the public library and the public and private schools to set aside time each month to learn about the American Revolution with age-appropriate curriculum. I would also like to urge the city of Portales to begin planning a celebration for this unique milestone. I implore you to enact this to train our future generations to a true and lasting patriotic values, as well as a true pride in their country.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mike Davison on water.
Mike Davidson. One disadvantage of speaking before the council meeting is we don't know what will take place during the meeting. So with that in mind, I would ask for this city council to unanimously approve tonight's resolution giving EPCOR full access to the inspections and data needed to see if they can assist our community in strategic directions for both our potable and affluent water systems. It was the recommendation of both the Water Advisory Group and Public Works Committee to move forward with the urgencies that these issues and our citizens deserve. If doing so, we would also respectfully ask EPCOR to consider and recognize the talent that we have in our water staff, Chris Mendoza, Eric Duran, Ashley Flores, Jade Gallegos, Randy Poe, and others, and to prioritize what their role in this potential transition might be, to give them the confidence in their futures as well as earn their support should this endeavor take place. These folks have gone above and beyond the call of duty for our community. I'm a fan of win-win situations, but here we have the opportunity for win-win, win-win. New business for EPCOR, a potentially better prospect for our city water employees, a long-term solution for our citizens, also potential relief of pressure on both our city and our city council, allowing staff and leaders to focus on other areas of our community needing attention. Thank you for this time to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon.
Thank you, Mike.
And thank you for the comments that you gave to our staff. We just want to echo those as well. Randy Denson, Senior Center or Senior Citizen.
Yes, my name is Randy Dunson, and I'm speaking on behalf of the senior citizen group that meets at the building at 421 Industrial Drive. Many of you are aware of the problems we have. Things went by the wayside over the years, and we've updated our constitution and bylaws. We've reapplied for our 501c3 status. In November, they said 6 months, but don't call us. We still haven't received that. We appreciate the council members that have come out and looked at the building and visited with us for what's needed. 3 of us went to a Zoom meeting yesterday with the New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration Capital Outlay Bureau. And we found that there are some projects in Roosevelt County, and one of those, project number 31670, is for $477,087 for that senior citizens building. We knew nothing about this. And some of that has been received, and we're supposed to get $56,000 this next year. Can someone from the city either attend one of our board meetings or send us a written report of the timeline for what's going to happen with the building? From what we're seeing, the things that are most important to us are the things that will be addressed at the last. And that $56,000 for fiscal year 2025, when will that money be received and what will it be used for? And also, will we have any input on what is done with the building? For one thing, we're certainly concerned about the floor, which is primary of importance to us. We do not want a floor like the one in the new senior citizens building in Clovis. But anyhow, our main concern was just some communication with the city as to what is going on with this money and the funding and the work that we've be done to the building. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dunson, do you know when? Can we know when the next board meeting is?
Tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
Okay,
We meet the second Wednesdays of each month.
thank you. Mark Huerto?
Mayor Pro Tem, council members, Mark Huerta with EPCOR. I primarily here just to kind of observe and listen, but I did want to take this opportunity to thank Portales and its leadership for inviting us in to kind of visit with you guys, chat with you guys, and then see what we can do to assist you with the water issues and things that you guys are dealing with here. So just again, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
And Mr. Engel.
Good evening. I'm Stuart Engel, used to be your state senator for a couple of years. I just want to briefly speak a little bit about the water issue that we're discussing here. I certainly am one to be very much in favor of a lot of private industry doing most things. But I do also believe that municipalities certainly have a duty to its citizens, and some things I think are done better by the municipality than they are sometimes when they're done on private industry. My years in the legislature, I've seen so many little towns sell out to somebody. They come in, they run a few years, and then they're gone. I'm not saying EPCOR is that kind of company. I don't care who you're dealing with. But the thing about it is, I do think that we have to be careful. For one thing, we always have to remember in this state, this is one of the wealthiest states in the union, certainly for the number of people we have. My first budget in the year I was there in 1985 was 900 million, which I thought was a hell of a lot of money. We're way past 10 billion now, and we've got an extra $8 billion just this year. The state of New Mexico does. If we do some of these things with private entity, the state cannot be of aid to the city. That's what we have to think about. There's certain things I think a city has to be responsible for, and I certainly think water, garbage, and sewage are some of those. Other than that, streets, things like that. But I do think we need to be very careful because we're opening a door on one end and shutting it on the other. And we have to be extremely careful when we do that. Because once it's done, it'll never go back. And I do think that there is a very specific entity there that should be in charge for our water, garbage, and sewage, and that's our city. And it's just something that I think is more valuable to its citizens. We can come in and get help when there's an industry coming in. The state can come in and help do water stuff for that industry, just like we did on the big cheese plant out there. We've done it on lots of different things, and we can continue to do it. But we have to be careful where we put ourselves. And I'm certainly not against private industry at all. But I do think that there are certain entities that I think are better left to the city of Portales. And water, garbage, and sewage are those. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Engel. Okay, moving on, minutes of the previous meeting that are in your packet. They are for the regular meeting on May 28th, 2024. You've had a chance to review. I have the meeting agenda and the meeting minutes in front of me. I did want to state that on some of the council packet information sheets, there's a date of 7/11 instead of 6/11. It's in the packet, so I just wanted you to reflect that. So we can make that correction. Yes. That's okay. Is there any other questions or comments?
I have a comment.
Okay,
Under the comments of Oscar Robertson, I read through those comments. I think that it was paraphrased rather than what I said. And I would love to have those. I'd like to have that corrected to what I said at the meeting. I did not imply what was written down. And I think that we need to go back and look at the tape, listen to the tape and correct the information. Because most of these are paraphrasing of thoughts that I made that you thought I was thinking, but I directly say what I said. And I think it should be reviewed and resubmitted.
so that is on the last page.
Yeah.
The last page.
Yes.
The comments.
Yes, comments, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Any other comments or concerns? What is pleasure of the council?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Parker and a second by Mr. Lopez. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Negative.
We have a vote of 6-1. Motion carries. Presentations. Our next presentation is our Flag Day Proclamation, June 14th, 2024. The city of Portales is joining forces with the El Portal chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution and the Seven Caves Children of the American Revolution in urging all citizens to display the flag of the United States. We have this proclamation and we have someone from the Daughters here to accept. So we have the proclamation for 2024. Whereas adopting the Stars and Stripes as the official flag of the young republic on June 14, 1977, Congress wrote, white signifies purity and innocence. Red, hardiness and valor. Blue signifies vigilance and perseverance and justice. And whereas first celebrated throughout the country in 1877 to observe the centennial of the birth of our nation, President Woodrow Wilson officially established Flag Day by proclamation in 1960. Flag Day became a national observance by act of Congress in 1949 and was signed into law by President Harry Truman. And whereas during the darkest hours of war, Americans took the purity, hardiness, valor, vigilance, perseverance, and justice represented by the flag as ideals worthy to the ultimate sacrifice in order to defeat tyranny. We salute the veterans of these wars. And whereas the flag that inspired Francis Scott Key to write our national anthem over 200 years ago still energizes and inspires the American spirit. We remember the struggles and successes for which our flag stands, and we look at the flag as an everlasting symbol to our commitment to a world of peace, a nation of principles, and a people of unity. Now I therefore, Veronica Cordova, Mayor Pro Tem, by the authority vested in me as Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Portales, New Mexico, do hereby declare June 14th, 2024 as Flag Day in the City of Portales, and urge all citizens to display the flag of the United States and join with the El Portal Daughters of the American Revolution and the Seven Caves Children of the American Revolution. And if y'all would like to share any words, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. As we all know, Flag Day is steeped in a rich history. President Wilson was the first one to enact it in 1960. Additionally, President Coolidge also enacted it in 1927, but sadly, it was not until August 3rd, 1947, that it was actually enacted and made national observance for the national world to recognize and for the world to see that our symbol is everlasting.
Thank you, and thank you folks for being here to discuss. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so then. Next, we have Chief Mulder from ENMU Police Department. And he is here for a public safety presentation.
Mayor Pro Tem and counselors, first, I want to thank you for the opportunity and your time to come before you. Honestly, this presentation is long overdue. We've been trying to get this in the works since March, and with the planets to align, and we didn't want to delay it any longer. And so here I am. And the reason that I'm here is I want to First of all, thank the police and fire personnel that are present here tonight. And on behalf of Eastern New Mexico University, want to thank them for their dedication and service to Eastern New Mexico University. They've been a mainstay with our major special events, also with emergency management initiatives and public safety. As an example, if you go through every Eastern New Mexico University football game, you're going to see representation from both of these organizations there without fail to go through and help us out. And quite frankly, we couldn't do it without them. One of the most recent involvements that they've had is the unveiling of our outdoor workout center, where as much as it pains me, I have to let you know that the Portales Fire Department beat our law enforcement team in a friendly competition. And so I wanted to come before you, take a little bit of time and present some commendations on behalf of Eastern New Mexico University to the Portales Police Department. If Captain Valdez could come down and receive this on behalf of Portales Police Department, we would appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir. Yes, thank you. All right, and Chief Kathy, behalf of the Portales Fire Department. Yes, sir, we appreciate it. Just in closing, we hope that the city of Portales and the representation among the departments here accept these commendation plaques as a small token of our appreciation, and we look forward to the success of continued community partnerships. And so thank you for giving me the time.
Mr. Weldon, we appreciate you being here and we appreciate that partnership. You know, we want to continue to grow that with, you know, all entities in Portales. So we're really appreciative of you appreciating our staff.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have a 5-year service award for Miss Catherine Rice. And I know she's here because she signed up to speak on accident. Ms. Rice has been with the city for 5 years and we appreciate her service. This certificate is presented to Captain Rice in recognition of 5 years of your faithful service, outstanding performance, and commitment to excellence for the city of Portales. And if you want to say. Next, we have Ms. Christine Mitchell. How much you wanted her award at the beginning of the meeting? Over no. And we're glad that she's selected for jury duty, and we didn't think she was gonna be here for it. Steve Mitchell, in recognition of 10 years of your faithful service, outstanding performance, and commitment to excellence for the city of Portales. We appreciate you for your 10 years. Thank you.
You know the procedure. You did here.
Next, we will move on to action items. Our first action item is going to be presented by Counselor Merrick and Chief Kathy. And interim manager, Chief Kathy. Item 1, discussion and approval of resolution 2024-12, authorizing and allowing EPCOR to explore the city's water, wastewater, and reuse system, being a non-binding agreement, and allowing us EPCOR to access city data and facilities in order to perform a detailed condition assessment of our system.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Just a quick recap. This is just to give them the access so that they can give us the information requested. And staff awaits your pleasure, and I'll let Eldon take over from here.
Just to reiterate, this is a non-binding resolution. It by no means commits either party to an agreement. So this is just an exploratory thing to let them come in and look over our situation and tell us what they can do to help us out, or if we can't come to an agreement, we'll continue on as we have been. But this is just another rock that we need to turn over and explore our options. Try to do what's best for the community.
Do we have any other comments? Okay, with that, what is the pleasure of the council? Oh, can we get what is the pleasure first?
Make a motion to approve the resolution. Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Merrick and a second by Mr. Rackler. Danielle, can you please call the roll?
Yes. Ms. Cordova,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
No.
Mr. Merrick,
Yes.
Mr. Elkins,
Yes.
Mr. Self,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
No.
Mr. Rackler.
Yes.
Okay, by a 6-2 vote, the motion carries. Next item is item 2, memorandum of understanding with ENMU. Natatorium Facilities, May 27th, 2024 through August 2nd, 2024. The city is to hire and train a manager at the expense of the city, with said manager to hire and train 12 to 15 lifeguards. This was tabled at the last council meeting with the intent to return with current council agenda with a rewritten MOU agreement. Mr. Kathy.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. After much research and a lot of great work by Steve and his staff, the agreement is very fair. And it comes down to council's pleasure of what services you want to provide in what manner. This is also kind of twofold, because I personally have some hesitation with the pay rate for the lifeguards. So I would like council's guidance on the direction you would like for that to go. But after, again, some extensive research, the increase in cost for chemicals is completely justified based on the extra usage. Yes, the natatorium will be open through ENMU's process during their evening hours, but our hours are outside of that. So the increased uses causes the increased need for more chemicals, as well as the staff to man it during those hours.
Does anybody have any questions? I have one.
Yes,
PJ, are they going to provide any lifeguards outside of our 12 to 15?
No, ma'am.
Any other questions? Hearing none, what is the pleasure of the council? With no motion to continue, we'll move on to the next item. Next item is the fire department. Item 1, ratification of the fire EMS chief interim city manager's signature on the New Mexico Department of Public Safety grant award to purchase new honor guard uniforms. The awards is in the amount of $10,791.74. Mr. Kathy.
Thank you again, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. I forgot that I was presenting in, nearly went and sat down. So Chief Frank did an excellent job in finding this grant and applying for it. There was a very strict timeline to this, but he was able to jump on this and receive this funding. So therefore, we're bringing it for ratification to spend. Well, we're already in the process of spending the money, but it's totally grant funded for all new honor guard uniforms for our department.
Mr. Kathy, I do have one question. So it says uniforms are to be received by June 30th. Are we going to be able to fill that timeline?
We're working very diligently, thankfully through some extra resources via Fire Fund. We're able to pay for expedited shipping, and we hope to be able to meet that deadline. Chief Frank is working diligently with the grant council to try to get some accommodation, because with the finance struggles that we've been working through that caused some delays that made it a little bit more difficult, but Chief Rank has done an excellent job and we should be able to meet that timeline.
Okay, and can we ask for an extension if we don't? Do you know? We can,
Yes.
okay, perfect.
He's working on it as we speak.
Okay. Mr. Robinson?
Is there any matching from the city on?
No,
this?
sir.
It's
This
just
is-
a pure
yes.
100% grant.
Yes. There will be some in the form of matching to cover some of the expedited shipping and some of the costs, but it'll be very minimal in comparison.
Okay.
Any other questions? See none? What is the pleasure of the council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Rackler and a second by Mr. Robinson. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next item is community services, Ms. McLennan. Item 1 is recommendation for approval of resolution 2024-13, approving the appeal made to the city clerk and the city council regarding the application for a summary subdivision plat by Stephen and Linda Davis, and hereby appeal the decision of the Planning and Zoning Commission of the city of Portales, unanimously denied by the Planning and Zoning Committee at their regular meeting of May 13th, 2024. Ms. McClendon.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. So what we have here is the original, this is what the property looks like now. We go to the next one. So this subdivision request was brought to Planning and Zoning on May 13th. And it was denied unanimously. Their concern was with, Chrissy, it's mad, so I'm not gonna touch it. This dedicated easement right now, right here. Right here. Right there. Because technically, this lot right here, lot 4 is landlocked, so doesn't have any access to that road on Kilgore. Without the private easement, the city has, on a base by base cases, allowed private easements to be used for landlocks. But without the approval, it can't be addressed. Because it's not up against a road and there's always some safety concerns when the city's not making sure. It doesn't have control of what condition that's kept in. Someone gets hurt there and it's not kept in a good enough condition, then an ambulance may not be able to access the road. But we did bring it to council, or sorry, commission. That was their only concern. We go, Ms. Chris, with this subdivision. The next one. Yes, please. So they had 2 corrections. They said they would deny it, but they'd like to see it come back to planning and zoning with 2 possible solutions. But the applicant wanted to appeal, which is 100% within our ordinance, so we brought it here. We'll go to the next one. Here are the 2 recommendations that planning and zoning recommended. Please don't judge. I'm not very good at drawing, especially with a mouse. For number 1, they wanted to see where that easement, that green is, turned into a public right of way, which would be a city street. So it would have access. That is the more expensive option because it would have the landowner develop that easement. The second one, which is the cheaper option, it's much quicker, is instead of having an easement, split what that easement would be. So lot 4 has 30 feet that touches directly to Kilgore and satisfies its need to have access to a public road. And it can be addressed after Kilgore, and they wouldn't have to develop, by our standards, any of the property if they didn't want to. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I'm not sure if anybody's here. We do have some property owners that are here. And Mr. Rackler is on the planning commission, so he may be able to give some more information as well.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Steve Davis. This application came about due to a person coming to me privately wanting to purchase a piece of the 18 acres in question here. Started this process over 8 months ago. So I have spoken to numerous people and personnel within the city, trying to make sure that we had all this in line before it came officially as an application. Due to some misunderstandings, I believe we have come to maybe not an impasse, but a situation. So that seems to be an issue of access. We have, my wife and I, intentions of at some point, hopefully in the far, not too far future, the west end of this property to build a residence. So this area here will be my driveway. It was set up 60 feet wide in the easement as we drew up this survey. With trying to make provision in case sometime in the future it was desired to be a street. That there was plenty of room, it wouldn't be an encroachment on any property. There was plenty of room to put in an additional city street. For the purpose of this 5 acres that the person wants to purchase and my property, paving this is not it's not an option. It's not feasible. The expense is entirely too much to be able to do that, and either property needs to be really acceptable to either one of us. I did not understand exactly what she explained about splitting this into 2 30-foot easement or 2 30-foot accesses. Did you say that would have to be paved?
No,
Not
so,
paved, just developed.
no, not even that.
Okay.
So what it is our, what the planning commission said was their concern is you don't have access to a public, developed road. So if you turn this 30 feet belonging to them, they have access. You don't need easements. You don't have to develop anything. You can just change your plat to show.
I guess my question would be, would that be more difficult? Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
Would that be more difficult for the city later if they wanted to develop that as a street, if there were 2 private properties 30 feet apiece, instead of a 60 wide easement dedicated as a road? Because I'm sure several of you had dealings with easements in the past, true? Once an easement is granted to a person, that easement is not revocable. If I sell this property at some point, that easement goes with that property to whoever I sell the property to. They have to accept that or not buy it, or it has to go to court. Now, if this, in the future, this easement I'm proposing, if it were sold, like I said, it would have to go to court, and the court is not gonna relinquish that easement in court if that person has a residence there and has been using that for a number of years. It's not gonna be relinquished. I've got easements on the front of this property that are to the power company. Just because I decide I don't want that easement to be there anymore doesn't mean I can require the power company to relinquish that easement. That goes with that property for whoever buys it from now forward. It's a permanent situation. So I don't guess I understand why granting them an easement from lot 4 to Kilgore is any different than that being my driveway, because that becomes their driveway legally. They do have access to Kilgore off of lot 4, and they will have continually from now on. If, say, number 4, lot 4 decides to sell that property, they never have to ask me if I want to continue that easement. That is a guarantee that that easement is with that deed from now on. It's not something that just can be arbitrarily, yes, I grant it or I don't grant it. So with that in mind, I guess I need questions from you or opinions from you or a reason why you don't think that access with that easement would work.
Mr. Reckler, did you want to?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, it was unfortunate that Mr. Davis was out of town when we met, so all of that explanation was not provided to us, and it was an unfortunate thing that he had provided his phone number and we overlooked that and did not call him on the telephone to discuss those concerns. But as my understanding, and I've met with some of the city staff today, trying to make sure I'm clear on what we do and what we don't do. We don't want to grant within the city limits, a change to a plat or anything that does not have access to a street. So that was the primary reason that that was denied. I understand what he's telling us and I'm fine with whatever the council decides. I'm just telling you why we denied it. We denied it because as presented, that's not a street. And I'm not sure how you're gonna write the easement so that both lot 4 and lot 1 are in that easement agreement.
Okay. Can I have that survey?
Yes.
In the survey here, it lists an easement to be dedicated. And it lists the dimensions of 60 feet wide, the length of half that property. So they would have entrance into their property pretty much anywhere they wanted. But it's stated on this survey that that will be a dedicated easement. And then like any easement in a deed, it will be listed in that deed of where that easement is and what it pertains to. Just as this easement right here that's on my property now is the leach system for this property. And this easement is listed in my deed and on my survey as an easement that I have to accept if I buy the property. And I do, of course, because I want the property. Same with these easements here with the power company. They're listed on the survey and they're also listed in the deed. And they go with that property and with that deed from that day forward. Unless there's a civil action that takes it out. And just like nobody's gonna go to court and be able to get that easement relinquished with the power company. I don't believe they're ever gonna relinquish that easement to a property owner that has a residence there that bought that property with that easement and, attached. So I don't understand exactly how the easement, where it gives them legal right to that road, how that doesn't qualify the same as that being my driveway, that being their driveway with that easement. So both properties do have direct access to Kilgore. That's my opinion.
I think another thought that they might have been having, and Kelly was kind of alluding to it, it's the address for like if at lot 4, they build a residence there and there's a fire, what address are they gonna have? It's not gonna be connected to a street that they own. Their property is not connected to Kilgore. Yours is. And so you can give Kilgore as the address on lot 1, but lot 4, I think that would be the concern for them. Is that?
But where they have a legal access with that easement, they do have that address to Kilgore. And it would be very easy coming off of Kilgore, entrance off of Kilgore onto this road to put both addresses on that entrance. And then the entrance to each property have that address, individual address. It would be very easy to take care of.
In our discussion today with the staff, and all this is prior, post meeting, but in our discussion today, Mr. Ledbetter did explain that if the application is granted and that easement is in place, he will address both lots. As long as it's been council approved as is. Am I correct, Kelly, in saying that?
Yes.
Okay, make sure I didn't understand, misunderstand.
It's not my policy norm, but Bill has.
He did mention that the state will sometimes give him warnings, red flags to addresses that they don't feel are appropriately done, and that would probably fall in that category because it's not a street. But
it would be in a sequence with the other lots 2 and 3.
well, 2 and 3 would be addressed off Kilgore. I'm not sure what address.
If they're addressed off of Kilgore, then the entrance into the other 2 lots would be addressed off Kilgore here. Yes, and then as Mr. Davis said, where each one of the driveways goes to the house, there could be another sign designating that same address to it. So shouldn't be an issue for fire or police.
I can't see how it would be personally.
Mr. Robinson?
I'm just listening to the conversation. Steve, I'm sorry I didn't get the chance to call you today.
That's okay.
But can they just go back to the planning commission to rescind, the unanimous vote? Is that legal? And if so, based on what your explanation is and based on what Mike said, Councilman Rackler said, he didn't have that information that you just presented.
He
So-
did.
And so therefore, I think that should go back to the planning commission for their recommendation to reconsider.
Well-
This, I don't know if you did that or not.
That was the recommendation of planning and zoning was it was denied with the request that it come back to planning and zoning
Okay, but see,
with
that
more
wasn't
information
clearly stated
in
here.
right. But it
So-
was in planning. and
It was, okay.
Yes.
So what is our vote to be? Should we be voting to send it back to the planning commission for reconsideration? Because this action here is not accepted.
Is,
delay this process anymore, but I think in clarity and to keep from overstepping the commission without their full knowledge of the situation. We would probably need to send it back to them, let them approve it and bring it back to us. Yeah.
okay.
It's another step that I know you're anxious to get it done, but
Yes, it's been a long process.
You know, we got the power just to go ahead and okay it right now.
Mhm.
Even though, because the planning commission person is right here and he's understand what's going on, so there's nothing wrong with making a motion to go ahead and approve it
So would you
as
make
the
that motion?
explanation that you said.
Ms. Baca did with through planning and zoning. Do you have anything to add?
With the clearer explanation and stuff like that, which I wish we did have at the time this came before the board. I wouldn't have any quarrels with accepting it as what is proposed. For you all to do, but it won't that.
I would like to ask one last question, and that's of Chief Kathy. I just, again, want to let you have an opportunity to talk about access. I know you're gonna say whatever the city council
No,
says.
and you're right.
I know your
Um,
speech.
But first of all, I really appreciate how wide he made it to make sure that we have the appropriate access for all apparatus. And having that in mind is greatly appreciated, because that alleviates that issue. As far as the addressing, our district spans far outside the city limits. And there's many areas within our county as a whole that are addressed very similar. So I don't see it causing any major delays.
The other party with this is Bruce Nixon.
Right.
And I apologize, he couldn't be here tonight. He has the same situation I did last time. He's far out of town with his job.
Right.
But our plan, our goal for this road is a 30-foot wide, almost all weather road, gravel road. I mean, this is gonna be a road that's put in as crown. It's gonna be gravel, cleachy, and then possibly gravel, at least cleachy. So it's not gonna be something that's just a mud hole for someone to try to get down with a truck or anything else. And, you know, it was unfortunate that I couldn't be at the committee meeting. I was 300 miles away on a job and circumstances didn't allow me to come back. And unfortunate that we didn't get the phone call, but that's okay.
Of Steve, our attorney. Okay, so for clarification, is this coming to us from planning and zoning as a recommendation that they denied it? So do we accept or deny their recommendation, or is it just coming to us as a separate?
It's before you to make your decision either way you want to make. You've got what the planning commission recommended. You've heard what's been presented. You can reverse the action and take action on it with whatever conditions you want. You can send it back to the planning commission if you want, but it's before you tonight for what action the council wants to take.
Very good, thank
Ms.
you.
Baca, did you have some? Yeah.
It wasn't from planning and zoning, just to clarify. It was-
There, and I understand you saying that there's a process of sending it back, but this is an appeal. He is doing the process of what needs to happen. So I think it is up to the city council to decide whether to approve it or deny it and not go off of what the city, of what the planning and zoning have decided. Because this is his due process, he is appealing it.
true. And I understand that. I just don't want it to seem like the council overstepping on the authority of the planning and zoning commission, because they are a crucial element to the city. And I don't want there to be hard feelings between anybody on that. commission to say that we, went around, so to speak, but with the information that was given to us tonight and was not given to the Planning and Zoning Commission, I tend to feel like you, that the rest of them would probably change their opinion and vote for it. So it's a pleasure to council, I guess.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the appeal as was presented by Mr. Davis and that we approve his appeal.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Robinson and a second by Ms. Parker. Can we get a roll call vote on this one, please?
Yes. Okay, Ms. Cordova.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Merrick,
Yes.
Mr. Elkins,
Yes.
Mr. Self,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Rackler.
Yes.
Okay, with a unanimous vote, motion carries.
Does there need to be any clarification on which one? I mean, are we approving the original plotted?
The entire resolution will be rewritten to contain all the data that's been provided.
But
Make sure.
Mr. Davis originally intended it to be just like this.
So we're approving the 2024-13 with no changes or no suggestions.
Well.
Yeah.
No, I really don't like that. You're just approving it and I'll go back and prepare another resolution for you.
Okay. Will we have to bring that one back because it'll be a different number or?
I'll just reword this one.
Okay,
I'll just change some of the wording.
okay.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Mayor
Okay.
Pro Tem, before we go on to that last item, can we go back up to the natatorium? We just kind of let that die. And it completely caught me off guard. I was sitting there reading and then heard you say that we're just moving on. Does us not agreeing to this agreement say that we don't have the natatorium for the summer?
Correct.
Can we go back to that action item? We have not, is that okay, Steve?
You'd have to vote on it and you'd have to have, I think a super majority to go back since it's already been acted on. But, that's up to the mayor pro tem.
What was acted on?
There was no
If you-
motion.
If you make.
No motion, so it died for lack of a motion. So you can go back.
It died.
And I paused for quite. a
You sure did.
second.
And I'm just sitting there
Waiting.
reading in my own little world over here. So do I need,
I'd already read through this. Kind of had my mind made up which way I was going, but it just kind of.
yeah, we just sat here.
Nobody made a
So what would we need to see if we can go back? A motion?
Just a motion to reconsider.
Okay, can I make the motion to reconsider, going back to visit the natatorium facilities?
We have a motion to reconsider the natatorium by Mr. Elkins and a second by Mr. Merrick. Okay, well, do we have any questions on the natatorium?
We need to vote on the motion.
Oh, yes, sorry, my bad. All in favor, well, let's have a roll call vote on that one.
Ms. Cordova,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
No.
Mr. Merrick,
Yes.
Mr. Elkins,
Yes.
Mr. Self,
No.
Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
No.
Mr. Rackler.
No.
That was no, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
What is the tally?
It's 4 to 4. And this was just a vote to revisit, correct?
So, Steve, it's tied.
It did not pass.
It did not pass. Okay, so moving forward. Item number 2, ratification of grant for $350,000 from the New Mexico State Board of Finance to plan, design, engineer, and construct a new animal shelter in the city of Portales. Grant agreement number 209-210, signed by Mayor Mike Miller.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Kelly.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Hopefully this will be really quick. We brought this application to council for permission to apply for this emergency grant for $350,000 for a new animal control facility. We were awarded the money. It's a no match. And so we're seeking permission to ratify the mayor's signature on the grant. The next one. We have a couple of different designs in the works. I won't present too much information on it because we wanted this ratification before we did anything that costs money. But one design I think will work real well. And this is the recommended location for it. The building at the top is a senior center. So a ways down, there are the utilities and the space for an animal shelter. It's one of the only land we own that has the utilities that we need, besides some of our parks. And this way it's not right in the middle of town for barking dogs and that kind of stuff. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Do we have to place it so close to the senior center?
I know the utility lines, wherever we move it, we'll have to put a little bit more the further we go away to match with the utilities.
Yeah, I don't like the location myself. It seems too close to the senior center.
Wasn't this originally designed for the rework of the park?
Yes, we had originally resigned it for the Cheese Park, but when we did the special use for the dog permit, the special use dedicated that half remain a human park with the basketball hoop and half be a dog park. Half that was gonna be the human park was gonna be what the animal shelter was gonna be. So we can revisit and rework that if that's council's decision. But this was on another location that had the utilities that we would need.
And is there a possibility of us going ahead and approving this signature and still readdress the location
Yes.
of the dog park?
This ratification is just
I'd like to
approving,
see, further investigation into that as well.
yeah, this ratification is just accepting the money.
Because I think we can possibly look back at the original recommendation we made to put it at the park. We're making a dog park. And see if we can't change what we did there. I mean, there's options I think we could look at, so I'm fine with moving forward, but I don't want to just approve that spot.
Okay, no,
No, the spot is just Kelly doing what Kelly does, providing and doing above and beyond performance to give you all more information.
well, I was afraid it was gonna be asked, so I figured we'd have a diagram on it.
I do like that the location is not in town, I don't know if we need to have a town hall for the citizens that live around the Cheese Park, because that barking is going to become quite loud right there. So, I mean, that's another thing to consider.
What if we tore down our current facility? and built it there?
So,
On the current facility, it's actually would have to be on a septic. So that whole area on the other side is all septic. If we wanted to connect it to these utilities, we would have to put in a lift station.
I would just like to investigate moving further down that road. If it's farther away from the senior center, I'm okay with that. I just would rather see it farther south.
All west.
There is a sewer line that runs down the highway.
I think there was one of the utilities ran along the top of the property. But it's been a while since I looked at the map, but we can definitely reinvestigate. I can send you guys information for your guys' recommendations.
Exactly how much land we have there, so we can look at it.
any other comments? Seeing none, I just want to thank again, the Lieutenant Governor Howie Morales, his efforts to get this, move forward. I do know that he came to our community to talk to us about the need for for the animal control along with other stuff. It failed during legislation, but he kept that at the forefront and brought it back. So we're very grateful and we appreciate this grant awarded. With that, what is the pleasure of the council?
Second.
A motion by Mr. Robinson and a second by Mr. Lopez. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next item we have is city council and staff comments. I'm gonna have to separate y'all. We'll start with the staff. Do we have anybody from the staff with anything?
None of the staff do. I have a couple of items. The firefighter recruitment fund for FY 25 has been extended until the 28th. But they have increased the amount per position from 65,000 to 75,000. So that helps some because then it will cover a new hire that's uncertified with family insurance completely. So that helps in that aspect. But then again, it delays us to not know what we need to plan for moving forward. We are doing a new hire process on June 22nd, and we currently have 4 applicants for that at this time. City staff continues to go above and beyond, providing the best service that we can with the resources our community is providing. So I'd really like to compliment our city staff and the great work they continue to do. And my last thing is just so council is aware, my interim city manager contract does expire on the 21st.
We're gonna make you work for free. Okay, we'll start with Mr. Reckler.
Just to remind everybody, I didn't talk last time, so I have extra time this time. I do have a few things. I started the process of talking to Waste Management about the possibility of some assistance with our garbage. I was asked to back off of that and let it go to Public Works. It went to Public Works on the 4th. Best I could tell from, I was at a surgeon's appointment, so I couldn't go, but best I could tell what we were given the okay to move forward. I just not sure about the process of doing so. Do I reschedule what I had set up originally? I'm more than open to exploring other possibilities like local company in Clovis. I just was trying to get the ball rolling on some possible solutions. When we get down to 2 trucks, I get a little scared because if one more truck breaks, I don't know how we pick up the trash. So I was just trying to move that ball forward, and I just want to make sure before I get in trouble again and start resetting that up if I'm allowed to do that.
On that note, I do believe the remainder of our trucks will be in service hopefully in the next week or 2. I would have to give it to mayor to determine the next steps, or we could ask Councilor Robinson, who is the chair of the Public Works Committee, on what their recommendation to council would be.
I will say he wasn't at the meeting, so we may want to ask vice chair.
Vice chair. Because the next step would be it coming as a recommendation to council from the Public Works.
You know, honestly, I have a hard time remembering what we decided on that meeting. We talked about a lot of stuff that day, but I think we did talk about going ahead and to the degree of exploring the, personally, I think it sounded, there was a rate given that sounded kind of expensive. And I know there was some discussion about that, but I don't think there was any harm in, surveying.
Could we explore some, bringing in some outside contract help? Catch us up.
That we talked about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I know that the city staff are working Saturdays and Sundays, I think, for collecting our traffic. I know because I've seen them. And they're working real hard to get it caught.
They're doing an excellent job.
Yeah, they do.
Mr. Robinson.
TJ, the reason I didn't answer, I was in medical procedure and I couldn't get away from my doctor, so I wasn't aware of all of this discussion. But like Councilman Lopez has just indicated, Public Works Department seemed like they outvoted to the maintenance center. Those young men and women are doing a job. It's just a matter of promotion and getting people to utilize the process. And as we speak, we are working on program to educate the community about convenience center and using and cleaning up the alleys. Unfortunately, it's not ready yet, and will be presented to the city, to the Public Works Committee and to later on to the council. So I think we're working on some issues and bringing in an outside person again to help us do what we are doing. I don't think it's necessary.
Well, and the other thing too, just so council is aware, we have developed a plan for those that choose community service for the traffic tickets from the videos. To set up a time for them to come do community service and cleaning up alleys. Which I have family members that aren't very happy with my idea.
And I understand that lay's coming because I had to see to the courts because I had a traffic ticket. Community services, Chamber of Commerce and Steve Chavez Department. So they are, it's in the works. It's just a matter of getting people educated.
Well, I'll be glad to assist in facilitating in any way that we can based on your recommendation.
I don't know if that answered my question, but I'll drop it for now, I guess. There is a community, cabinet in the community meeting, and it happens to be the same night as our next council meeting. And our state government is coming to have a town hall with us out at the university on that date. I think it would be kind of inconsiderate of us to none of us attend because we're having a city council.
25th.
On the 9th, I believe it's the 9th of July, 9th of July. So I've done that before and asked to move something and then it didn't turn out to be what we thought it was, but I do believe this one being our state government's probably would be appropriate if some of us were there. So I wondered about moving that date by a day or whatever.
We will ensure that that gets placed on the agenda for y'all's decision at the 25th meeting.
Okay, very good. And I would just, last thing I'd like to reiterate that I think we need to still have that second meeting of the council on a Saturday workday. We had a lot of things still to talk about and we rescheduled due to changes in staff, and I understand that. But we're 6 months in and there's still departments we haven't had a chance to have a conversation with, and that's very frustrating for somebody like me who likes to get things done, so. That's all I have.
Ms. Parker?
Yes, a couple of things. Steve, Parks Department or Chavez, I'm sorry. Status on the street sweeper? Anything? Are we still, it's not up?
You can't get parts for it.
So we don't have one.
No.
So everybody needs a broom.
Pretty much.
Okay. That's unfortunate. I wish we could. Also code enforcement is through police. Okay. Code enforcement, as far as weeds, height of weeds, it was 12 inches for a while and people were getting citations and taking care of their, I'm saying businesses and citizens. How are we on that?
We have a ton of postcards and citations out. But we're doing a code enforcement committee. We're gonna be bringing a document to set up code enforcement priorities to switch to a targeted code enforcement. Cause we only have one code enforcement officer in between dilapidated structures, weeds, trash and alleys, just getting a little
And
overran.
vehicles.
In vehicles. She does parking vehicles and animal control.
We had a meeting on Friday to begin that process of I was part of that meeting with code enforcement. So we're trying to basically target what we can work on best with the limited staff that we have, because there's no way one person can address all of those things.
I believe this year she sent out almost 2,000 citations.
Okay. Okay, so that's something that's in
Yeah.
the works too. Also, I wanted to thank Steve Tavis and your parks crew. I passed Rotary today and they were actually out there cleaning and trimming some of those trees and just picking up what we can. And I really, really appreciate that. I know there's been lots of comments. I think as a community, we have become so, gosh, how do I say this? Used to having the bad come to the surface and we continually tell you, you need to do this, we need to get this done. And the trash is horrible, the parks are bad. And I think we need to start having a change of mindset and start patting each other on the back, and kind of like what the chief interim is doing. that the staff is doing an excellent job on what you have what we put before you, and it's not necessarily that the trash isn't getting picked up, it's because of our vehicles. It's not that our workers are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, because they are going above and beyond that. Unfortunately, it's the equipment, and it's always the equipment, kind of like the street sweeper. You know, if we had a street sweeper, our gutters and, you know, our streets would be clean, but unfortunately we don't. So it's unfortunate circumstances that's happening in our community, but yet the people that are working extra hard to do all these jobs that need to be done, kind of like, you know, the weeds and the court enforcement officer, we only have one. We just need to start looking for the good things in our community, and we need to start relaying that, because we have lots of people coming into our community, and when we continually talk the negative, it just brings that negative out. So I want to commend you and all the departments. Steve, thank you for the Parks Department. Pat on the back for them for doing just the little things that mean so much. And Chief, appreciate it too, to all the staff, every department. Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
First off, I want to welcome Liliana to our staff.
Yes.
Glad to have you on board. Look forward to seeing what you can do for us. I know we've had some emails sent out, but we're still in the process of trying to get a meeting set up with the water co-op. Are we any closer to getting a date, or?
I think you've responded. No one else has given me a single response.
Okay.
So
Can we
well,
clarify on that? Because the last email I got was all of us included, and I thought there was
Preston,
only two
myself,
people.
and Oscar and Diane are group that needs to meet with them.
okay. Well, I visited with the mayor, and I mean, I'm not gonna argue with you, but I mean that there was a group in place, and there were vacancies created by the election, and the two of you were appointed to fill those vacancies. So that committee is still, according to the mayor, I mean, the committee is still in place. Now, you want to disband the committee and reform it, that's fine. But the committee had other people in it. That's why I've sent out the letters to everybody that's on the committee.
Okay. I'm not in favor of disbanding that committee. I just want to get us together to where we can have our meeting.
I agree, and I would appreciate everybody that got the email to respond tomorrow on some dates.
In or out? I'm still confused. Sorry, but I'm still confused whether I'm part of that.
If you were appointed by Mayor Miller recently, you're on it.
I was not. Okay.
Okay.
Am I remembering right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's Preston, Oscar, and Diane.
Right.
And then myself.
Steve, I will respond to you tomorrow.
And I got the email and I didn't respond because I wasn't on that committee. Sorry, I should have responded that I was.
Out to the whole council, but there's 4 of us that are on that group, so I would like to get it together and get a meeting, and I'll step out there and say, I'll set it up, we need to get it done. But
How many of us is that? Yeah, a quorum?
You need 5 for.
Five.
So they're
Yeah, so
It-
there's
it-
just-
You're meeting with the attorney, so that's not an issue. Attorney-client privilege doesn't apply.
Why isn't it an issue? If you have a quorum and you're not announced that you're gonna meet.
This is it's a subcommittee of 4 people, so.
It doesn't matter. You're still 5.
No, there's not 5, there's only 4.
But he's saying.
It's not.
No, there's only 4. So we're not in one.
Where are we at on our search for a city manager? We got applicants, or can
Yes.
you let the public know what's going on here?
So we have 14 applicants that we're gonna sift through. We got those, yes, late last night or late yesterday afternoon. So, we're gonna give each other through the weekend to sift through all of those applications. And then, Diane, Rustin, and myself will meet next week so that we can have, a sifted down version of who we're going to bring to the council.
Are these sifted down version is gonna be. Have a background check done on.
So that doesn't happen until, they're selected.
Smaller group.
Our hope was to narrow it down to three
Or
to
four,
five,
yeah.
3 to 5 people and then bring it to council.
Based off of their qualifications. We were really excited that we did have 14 this time, because last time we only had just a small, so we have.
So are we gonna need an emergency meeting to deal with the end of your contract prior to that?
It's gonna be at the pleasure of the mayor.
It doesn't sound like we're gonna have that process completed or even close to completed, but.
No, and then by the time somebody gets onboarded and we do the background checks and the reference checks, it's still like another 2 to 3 week process.
Well, but didn't you say yours expires is it next week or
21st.
the 21st?
10 days.
Before the next meeting? So, yes.
So we need to have an emergency or a special meeting to address them, correct? Okay. We set that up.
Any recommendations on what day? Or would you like me to reach out at a later time?
Well, you've got to give 3 days. So it's either Friday or Monday. It's that week.
Yeah, the only day next week that the council chambers is booked is the 19th. Just wait for it.
I'm out of town on the 18th, but I can join via Zoom. Okay, I email you tomorrow? Is the 18th good with everybody?
Only the 18th is booked?
Or
No, the 19th.
the 19th?
Oh, okay.
Oh, on Wednesday? Oh, that's the only time it's booked.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that was the only available.
Good, any of the others, I'm good.
Any other day? Okay.
But sooner we know the better.
Okay,
Or it's not.
we'll get back with y'all tomorrow on that. Anything else?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead. Did you say you did have something else or you're done?
No, I'm done.
You're done, okay. Mr. Robbins.
We kind of talked about the convenience center earlier. And I think it was at Public Works, might have been in one of these meetings where we discussed possibly moving the hours to make it more convenient so that it doesn't.
Get it, pull the staff together, we can look at it.
We can look at that. Okay. So what would be the difference in just shifting from 10 to 8 as opposed to the 8 to 5? If we're keeping the same number of hours, you're just shifting the time frame.
We're just gonna shift 2 people to come in, well, one to come in earlier and then one come in later.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But right now, we're not fully staffed there. We have one on the water department, one
Mhm.
design.
Okay.
So. We might get staffed.
Okay. And I'm sure we're all aware of it, but I think it's 813 East First, that it's an old church behind Pat's. That recent rain that we've had has almost dropped in that roof. Is there anything that we can do as a city to protect the kids in that area? Yes, ma'am.
So we did actually reach out to our New Mexico Self-Insurers League, and we've requested the process for emergency abatement.
Okay.
Just because all of the property owners are deceased. And so there's no one to contact if that changes the process at all.
Okay.
But we did notice, because we do have some people who live there, and they can't be removed because there's no property owners to remove them. So people have been reportedly sleeping in that building. So the city is trying to get it, I was working on the process getting emergency abatement.
Good. That's all I got.
Mr. Lopez?
I don't have very much, except I want to ask some questions on this EPCOR. You know, the way it looks here, that what it says about it, how they're gonna come here and do what they're gonna do. Everything's going to be for free. And you're demanding stuff in this writing.
You're talking about their assessment?
Yeah, yeah. If you read it, they're gonna come and they don't mention any money. But yet, we're saying if they don't do it, whatever, you know, we're not gonna accept it.
There's no legal binding contract.
I know, that's what I'm asking.
No money change.
You can demand anything once, when you don't pay somebody.
We're just giving them access to look. And come in and do an evaluation.
And they're gonna do it for
There is
free.
no money changing hands.
They're essentially giving us a
That
proposal.
don't make sense.
Did you get hail damage past couple weeks?
No,
You didn't? I got hail damage. I plan on probably getting 3 or 4 quotes on roofers. It's no different than this. You gotta let
I'm
them,
gonna give you a quote of how much it's gonna cost you.
well, or see if they even want, we're gonna see if they even
Well,
want our
then-
system
then-
or evaluate it, or they have to look at it to get an answer. You gotta open your doors and let them in to look at the system.
Can't expect them to sit 100 miles away and look at it and say. yeah,
Well, that's
this is-
exactly what I'm trying to tell you, but it says right there that you're almost asking stuff like that and demanding stuff if they don't,
Where
if you don't like what they're gonna tell you.
Where have you seen them?
Right here in this writing in here, it says right there.
Misread.
No, so we're giving them access to come in and look at our system, to then give us a proposal and say, hey, yeah, we want to come in and help you guys. Or, and if they give us something and say, hey, here's what we want to do, then we have the right to say, no, we don't want to do that. That's all this is.
It says that. It says it there.
Okay.
That's all I'm doing. I don't know, I don't see how I can demand for them not to do something that
We're not demanding anything.
you're asking them that.
With open doors, that's why Mark's here. We're not demanding anything.
I don't see how anybody can come in for free and do a lot of work and then you're gonna tell them, well, we don't like what you're telling me.
Well, they may not want us. We don't want to waste,
That's true.
we don't want to waste their time and vice versa, but the only way they're gonna know is if we let them look.
But you're gonna waste their time if you don't get it.
We won't know unless we let them evaluate it.
That's all I have anyway.
Yeah.
Mr. Burke, go ahead.
Good time for me to speak, but Mr. Lopez, maybe to set your mind at ease. I mean, this is just one of many steps. Again, it is non-binding. There are no commitments made at this time, other than the city's commitment to allow us. We'll come in, we'll ask for some documents, some different things. We're gonna have to come and see the facilities, we take on tour to see what the conditions are and different things like that. So that's really the only commitment that's being made at this time, is that the city of Taos has committed to allow us to do those things, right, and to provide some of that fact finding that we're asking for. And like I said, it's just one of what's gonna be a long process. And at any point, either EPCOR or the city of Taos may decide that it's just not gonna work, and that this isn't the right course of action. But I think, like someone mentioned, leaving Millstone unturned, that's basically what we're looking at. What is best for the city and its citizens. If at the end of this, we decide that it's not best for us to be a part of it, then certainly there'll be no hard feelings with that, right? So, but I think it's important for you guys as a community to, look at this as an option and let us see what we can do. Whether that means acquiring the system or being able to make recommendations on things that might be able to assist you guys in, resolving some of the issues that you're having today. So we're not asking for any money at this point. And at that point that would happen, that's when we start developing different agreements. This resolution is just to allow us to come in and take an initial look at the system and then continue to have those negotiations with the leadership to see which direction you guys want to go. Thank you. So I hope that made it go.
Yeah, well, that's the reason I brought that up, because there was no money involved in here, and that's really. I was kind of curious.
Thank you for that explanation.
Anything else, Mr. Lopez?
That's it.
Okay, Mr. Sell?
But I think you mentioned the word demands. I'm gonna use the word due diligence. We have to give them time, due diligence, so they can evaluate everything. We're just good business practice. They need time to evaluate it. There's no,
Business practice.
business practice, due diligence. We need them to do their due diligence so we can make an informed decision.
Well, I won't do nothing if I don't get paid. You could make it.
They're being neighborly up the street and they're trying to help, so. Let's. I think, as you know, Steve, Chief, probably the biggest complaint again is the trash. We want to help. We want to, be supportive, just like EPCOR. At the end of the day, I think we have to look as a community, and obviously the taxpayers are demanding of, a certain service. If we know there's a lot of red tape with the state, how much money they take out of your check, which seems like a lot, 20-25%, something like that. Not that much higher? Okay.
We can talk later.
So my point exactly that the state takes out a lot of money to run their pension for long term. It's, it's hard for a young family to make it when you're just starting out. But we want to help, but just like EPCOR, I think hopefully everybody's open-minded enough and that the staff doesn't take offense that we want to not only do what's best for the city, but you need some help. It's going to take some of that burden off your back. And I disagree with, I have a lot of respect for Stuart Ingle. Disagree. He mentioned the cheese plant. The reason the cheese plant is there, big reason is because EPCOR, very instrumental on getting the water to supply cheese plant. It takes a massive amount of water. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but very instrumental in that. They lowered the amount of gallons used from like 12 million a day to 9 million. Their water loss is 5.7% in their portfolio. I don't think we're really know where we're at or even near that. I've heard speculations, but I think whether the trash with waste management, I think our job is to represent the community, but just know from our perspective, we want to help, but please don't take offense whenever the community expects more and you guys are working your butt off and it's not necessarily showing it with results. So I think, again, hopefully you guys don't take offense that we're just trying to get help and do what's best for the community. And you guys might not agree with us, but we really want to do keeping that in mind for the community. So that's it.
Mr. Robinson.
Hi. I wanted to say that I kind of appreciate what happened last week, a couple of weeks ago, when we had the opportunity to have the Highway Commission in town. I'm very impressed with our engineer. He's Frisco is his name. Francisco. He is bound to help us streets, getting our streets together and trying to put money into communities all around here. Probably one of the largest districts in the state, from here all the way down to Jao, New Mexico, and his staff. When you see the highway crew walking around, driving around, fixing roads, say hi to them, because they're doing a great job. They're doing a great job. And I just think that it was too bad we couldn't have the whole commission to see in the community where other people could have heard what the commissioner was saying. And there was kudos by one of the commissioners who was a graduate of Eastern New Mexico University, and Albuquerque, and he gave our city and the university great raise in their minutes. And the mayor pro tem was there, and it was a great meeting. And I wish that everybody in town could have heard what the commissioners were saying about how they're going to spend the monies to improve roads in the state of New Mexico. And if you see one of those trucks running around, just say hi to them, because they're doing a great job.
Thank you, Oscar, for that. Anything else?
No, that's it.
You're good? Okay. I just wanted to say thank you to, we had the ribbon cutting last Saturday for the skate park. Joe, I appreciate all the effort that you put into that. I wish we would have had more city staff. Melissa, thank you and your family for being out there. Appreciate it. And I'd also like to thank, former Councilman Chad Heflin for being there and being a part of that ribbon cutting and, all of the events that they had out there that day. I went to a meeting with the base commander today and he is, looking for us to continue to do supports events and staff for their airmen. So I just wanted to, put that on everybody's mind that we need to look at continuing to support the base. Another due diligence that we need to do is for, EPCOR and our water system. And TJ and I just did talk about this a little bit earlier, is looking to see if we can figure out the revenue source for what we gain on the water system. I know that we talked about on the bill, it has the water, the wastewater and the garbage. So, I mean, we're going to just have to figure out how we break that down, whether it's a third or whatever it is, but just so we have all of the numbers and everything in line. And then I just want to make sure that the dumpster on Gemini did get taken care of. Thank you, Steve. And that is all I have. And with that, we are adjourned.